Hernandez was once arrested at gunpoint when he was 16 years old. I was hesitant to ask Dan for more information because at the end of the day, we're friends, but there's so much that we don't know about each other, which is true about a lot of people in the program or in this room. I couldn't tell you the birthday of most people here or recount their star signs or where they were born, and that might be a shame. But one benefit we have because of this program, because of Neon Lit and events like it, is that we know at least a little about what kind of writers we each are. We get to hear and read and sometimes even respond to personal words made public. We get to participate in a writing community, and that counts for a lot. Also, Dan got arrested at gunpoint because he was goofing off with a toy gun. Might be important. The police thought that was real. His birthday, by the way, is April 20th. He's a Taurus, and he grew up in Aurora, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Hernandez.
Hello, is that it? All right, thanks so much, guys. I really am honored to be invited back to be here. So I have a very short flash piece, but I have to say a few words about it. So when I was asked to read, I actually was going to say no because I was like, I'm not really up for it. So as some of you guys know, one of my best friends died suddenly earlier this month. Actually, when I was invited to read, I was right about to get on a plane soon for the second time in 2 weeks to go back to Denver to participate in some memorial events. And but then I kind of, recognized that there was something very, serendipitous about being invited. And the reason is that my buddy was also a writer, and he was a good writer. In fact, he aspired to go to MFA programs. UNLV was on his list, and so I thought, I'm going to give him the Neon Lit reading that he would have had, So, I want to say a couple words about him because his personality doesn't exactly, or my memory of him doesn't come out in this piece. So Kevin was like the funniest guy I ever met, the most charismatic dude. He was the best bartender in Denver, and then he became the best bartender in Spokane. He spent all his money on his friends, buying them drinks. All his clothes were like stolen from his friends. He didn't care about fashion. He didn't care about having a nice car. He just cared about people and being with people. And his fiction, though, it doesn't convey the guy that I remember who was always smiling and joking. He explored the kind of darker worlds that he was exposed to as someone who battled addiction for a few years. And so this is a piece that he wrote last month, and actually our last conversation was me giving him feedback to it. So I edited it slightly for him, and but most of this is just straight up what he wrote in probably like one sitting. He was that good. So this is A Theft by Kevin Randall. So many drugs there. Rotund red, 60 milligram oxys, pure white diamond-shaped Dilaudid, and Xanax for kicking. The kitten was kicked off in two. Its owner was a junkie dick named Jimmy O. His Persian cat, Serafina, innocent and beautiful, carried the burden of Jimmy's shortcomings. Tortured, starved, ridiculed. Get off the fucking counter, you stupid fucking cat. Jimmy threw a syringe like a dart at Serafina. She ran in place, unable to gain traction, and the needle stuck in her side. Jason and I watched, loathing Jimmy. Sitting in his destitute recliner, I wondered, would we become this vile? Is it possible? I never thought I'd willingly desire to be in a place like this, yet here I was. Then I looked down into the pill bottle on the table and thought, I'm not leaving until those drugs are in me. I could see Jason was conflicted as well. He stared down into the same bottle, afraid to look up and see Serafina. Jason and I got high and left Jimmy's place feeling hollow. We ignored the kitten's howling pleas that day and came up with a plan for future redemption. Jason and I spray paint the orange tips of our BB guns. No real guns, or thoughts, or emotion, except toward the innocent cat. We are junkies after all, and junkies only echo real life. We live in a suburb of limbo. Life, junkies, death, a blood river of dope carries mind and body and soul across the river Styx. Our fake guns altered, we set the syringes to our veins. Detached now, we gather ourselves to take off in Jason's yellow ride. We park a few blocks from Jimmy's, exit the car, and place black motorcycle helmets on with leather-bound hands. Jason turns to me, our first cat burglary. As I laugh, the helmet pulls my head back. The stars above the dark street are vivid tonight. They shine with bright intensity and reflect like nerve endings against my shadowy visor. My hands sweat under the leather as I adjust the helmet. We compose our breathing behind the familiar bushes next to Jimmy's front door. It's slow and heavy breaths, weighted with primal fight or flight instinct. Now comes the adrenaline. Weightless, we concentrate on the last breath before the loud violence begins and, together, we kick the door in. Serafina sits high up on her bookshelf perch. She appears calm as the door swing slams against the wall. Jimmy is not calm. He staggers up from his recliner. Blood drips down his arm to the syringe in his hand. I'm happy to interrupt the ritual, inject his need with anxiety. Stay back! I'll give you AIDS! Jimmy stammers. He holds the syringe like a knife. Jason is fearless as he sidesteps toward Jimmy and brains him with the butt of the gun. Jimmy's eyes go wonky. He bleeds from 2 wounds. Blood from his head fucks with his vision, and blood from his arm fucks with his grip. He drops the syringe and slumps to the floor. He sits wobbly with his legs straight out like a dazed child. A pool of piss puddles around him. Serafina jumps down and examines her owner's condition. She stands shy of the urine, looking down at her reflection, then up at Jimmy. Take the drugs, they're in the bag, under the chair, Jimmy pleads, holding a hand to his bloody head. Jason grabs the pill bottles and empties them into Jimmy's piss. He picks up Serafina and we walk out the door, leaving behind a very confused Jimmy. 2 helmeted strangers break in, smash his face, piss on his drugs, and take his cat. To this day, he must be baffled about what he lost. In truth, it confuses me still. Jason and Serafina were inseparable for the 3 months before she was diagnosed with feline leukemia. She was closer to death than life when we took her to the woods, dug a tiny grave, and shot her. We shot up to the point of sickness and buried Serafina. Thank you guys so much.